What's up, everybody? It's your girl, the Gransberry, aka Stadium Queen. It's week 5, and you joining us tonight for Snob Chronicles. I got my boy D Jones. I see you rocking the PB shirt tonight. I see you.
For
See
sure, for sure.
you.
You know what it is. You know what it
See
is.
you. Um, but anyway, before we get started, want to give a shout out to the Astros for having an amazing ending to their season. Uh, you know, They still broke records even when they losing, right? First
Always.
team to start out with such a losing record and end up winning the division. So with that, we're gonna make sure we keep it all football at all costs. And I, you know, how was week 4 for you, my boy?
I mean, it was cool. I mean, it was some shockers this week. Some teams
Huh?
that I didn't just just a few. But you know what? I feel like we've been saying it every week though. And we're gonna get to that that point in a few. But I feel like we've been saying that, or we could say that every week. So it's kind of difficult. It's difficult to make those picks. I know I'm having my worst pick 'em year. Even though I've done what coach would normally say, take some chances, but some of those I ain't taking that much of a chance, but it's just been real hard to call. Some of these games just a coin flip. So even our Texans being at the game, I'm like, geez, we don't look cohesive yet, but yet we keep finding ways to win. So it's a better walk to the car with a dub than the L, but yeah, I'm still waiting for that cohesiveness to kind of show up. So what about for you?
So it's kind of mixed, right? And I know that sounds weird. It's adjusting to some additional things that I have to do now, which is watching way more college football than I normally would. So I'm kind of like, I'm not watching with just the enjoyment of the game. I'm working and watching the games. And so what happens is that I'm not as detailed when I'm picking my Sunday games because I get to focus all on that, like from Monday late night to Wednesday night. I can go back and forth about my Thursday pick. And then I can think about it again on Friday and Saturday for my Sunday picks, even if I'm not sure. And
Mm-hmm.
now I don't have that window because I'm trying to watch Thursday night football, pro and college. I'm trying to watch Friday night football. I'm trying to watch all day Saturday football or traveling and then attend a game on Sunday. And sometimes I literally get in my seat at the game and I'm like, is there a pick I need to look at again? And I'm not keeping up with everything. Like, had I really thought about it, the surprises have been more so the score, maybe not the win. Was it really a surprise that Tampa Bay won? Not really, right? But had I thought about it, I should not have picked the Eagles because the less offensive weapons you have outside of the obvious team right now, the Chiefs, you struggle. If you got too many offensive weapons missing, you have a hard time scoring. So it probably wasn't the best pick. But then again, you see games and you like 1 minute it's 21-0, and the next thing it's a one possession game. So this goes to my all-time love in theory that the football is the best reality TV, period.
Sports period. Sports period. I'll say sports.
I'll give you that. I'm not up for debate about it's football versus something else,
Yeah,
but just I just think that it is truly remarkable how some of these games can change at a pace that's
yeah,
unbelievable but entertaining at the same time.
yeah.
So I
That's
think
why I have a hard time when people say they fixed or games are fixed. I'm like, it what it would take to really fix the games. I get like in some sports point shaving and things like that, and even some of the referee stuff can influence the game. But to say a game was fixed, especially a game like football that takes 11 players working together, it's not the same as like say basketball, one player can dominate the game. But
but it
it's
would
just
take 22 because that would
exactly
mean the other
exactly
side has to
they got to
participate.
be in on it too. Everybody got to be in on it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna fumble the ball. And the
Yeah.
defense has to say, well, we're not gonna touch it. You know, I mean,
You
like,
got to be out the way. You got to be out the way, or you got to be in the right spot. But yeah, it's the best reality. I agree with you. I've been saying that with you for years now. So drama, pageantry, everything that you can want is in there. So yeah, it's
yeah,
good stuff.
I'm loving it. I'm truly loving it. So for me, that's kind of where I am with that. I mean, I'm okay with it's not necessarily the best pick'em season thus far,
Mm-hmm.
but I can say it's been the most exciting past month of football. Um, I'm in shock and disbelief every Monday night. I mean, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. Just a small shout out to the Lions and the Seahawks because they put together a great, you know, 4 quarters of entertainment. Because I mean, I think everybody's been kind of having this complaint about which we'll talk about later, about the double headers, but they definitely gave us a game worth turning to when the other game became a little difficult due to not having starting QBs. So
For sure, for sure. Yeah, you jumping right into the teams of the week. That was one of the topics that we had. I was going to ask you your opinion on the Lions passing game on Monday. Not your opinion, your take. What we was kind of watching the game together the way we do on text. But yeah, your boy Golf was on fire.
on fire.
On
And I'm gonna give credit where credit is due.
for sure.
So he's definitely been balling. Um, Not much I can say against that. And so for me, it was just like remarkable to watch. Like, just it was usually the complaint in a game, a high scoring game, is that no defense is being played. And it was just like the right amount of defense with the right amount of a good play that you just was hanging on to, the game for what it was worth. So I can say I truly loved it. I
Awesome.
really did.
And I kind of say the passing game because there was one pass in which Golf was on the other side, and
A
they still
receiver touchdown.
his first receiving touchdown, and they still were perfect for the night. So I was like, wow. So even the pass he didn't throw, they were perfect. So we kind of also kind of started kind of getting into this topic. I wanted to ask you, do you think we're seeing parity in the league right now? And then are there any teams? I guess we can ask this flip. Are there any teams that are standing out for you? Because to me, it seems like there's a lot of parity right now. No one is really standing. I'd probably say two teams are standing out for me. But what is it looking like for you? We talked about how exciting it's been, how difficult it is to really pick who you think might win or will win. But do you chalk that up to parity, or is it just something lacking for you?
So if you ask me about a team standing out, even with two undefeated teams, I would say no. I think last year for us, it was pretty evident early who was standing out.
Mm-hmm.
And this goes to support my theory of why I don't believe in picking the division winners in August, because everything is great on paper, and I can't believe that people are still using paper to decide who they would pick for the division when you haven't seen it put together on the field. Because if we put it on the screen, if you told me the 49ers would be having this many injuries in 1 month and struggling for a win, if you told me the Eagles would have this many injuries and be struggling to win, if you told me that Dallas defense would be lethargic a little bit.
Now they got the injury bug too.
So there's no way. There is absolutely no way. So for me, nobody sticks out. The surprising thing is how many of these teams, for me, what they will look like in November. That's probably going to be what I'm looking forward to. I'm not even trying to say this month they'll figure it out.
So
I'm
I guess
trying.
when I say stick out, let me give you an example. To me, there's one team that I would say stands out or sticks out. Um, 1.5, but I'm just gonna focus on the one. The one that stands out to me as far as play is Minnesota. And the reason why I say Minnesota seems to be playing well in most phases or all phases of the game. Their defense has been dominant. Their offense, even in the games that they don't have to be totally dominant, they're not making mistakes. You know what I mean? And it's like when you watch a game, I went back and watched the Vikings and Packers game from Sunday, and they jumped out on the Packers. The Packers didn't even look that bad. They ended up with five turnovers, which you can't have, and they ended up having a pretty good second half and falling short. But I expected when I saw 28-0, I was like, they must be looking terrible. And then I go back and I'm like, okay, they missed some field goals, da 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 da. But Minnesota looks like they have things working together. Even the Chiefs being undefeated, you haven't seen them play very well. You know what I mean? It's like they're not scoring what you would normally see the Chiefs score. When you see them, they don't look like a well-oiled machine. They're winning because they have the experience and they're a good team and well coached. But it's like it's really when you look at it, no one team has those three phases working like Minnesota right now. Everybody else is either this or that, or they have their little shortcomings, or they have the blips in the game, and it's like, okay, I'm not sure. When we thought the Saints, okay, first 2 weeks, and then boom, they came down to earth. You know what I mean? So it's like no one is really standing out in that way to me, but Minnesota. So that's what I kind of mean standing out. But
I know what you meant, and I'm
yeah,
still not ready to give it there yet. I mean, I
I
like
feel
your
it. I feel
explanation, and it may
it.
be too because I mean, let's be honest. Um, when we started talking about who we had at a top receiver, who did we have?
Oh, we had Justin Jefferson. For sure, for sure.
So, so for
He's
me,
still there.
like,
But
so I'm
we
not,
wasn't sure about Sam though.
but I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
But I guess we've been in a position to see a quarterback still be able to get the ball to a superb receiver,
for sure, for sure,
right?
for sure.
So
Yeah,
we've been on the receiving end of that. So I believe it's possible. Doesn't
yeah,
matter if in theory, because again, we're talking about paper.
yeah.
On paper, the stats say there's no way you thought he would be able to execute at that level. But we definitely had some insight that the defense would look decent. Why do we think that, D Jones? Because some of the top
Because I
defenders.
about to say because they got a lot of our players, the players that was here. But
So
yeah,
they don't stand out to me yet. Not yet. I don't. I won't say that they can't.
they playing the best as of
If
yet.
you ask me that, then
We
I'm
can
gonna say
agree with
yes.
that.
I'm
We
gonna
can
say
agree
yes
with
without a doubt.
that. Yeah, we
Without
can
a
agree
doubt.
with that. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. So
So
that leads us to the next point. To just a shout out to the only two undefeated teams, which we just mentioned, the
one in
Vikings,
the AFC, one in the NFC.
one in the NFC. Absolutely. So, and shout out to our Pick'em Week 4 winner, IL Texas Gridiron, picked 12. He got 12 wins this week, or 12 points, I
Oh, that's
believe.
pretty good. That's
That's
pretty
pretty good
good.
for a week. And the season leader is CB's team. So CB's team is now in the lead for the season. So shout out to those guys that are playing in the Pick'em League. So
Okay.
now let's talk about the teams for the week. So the first thing is your boy 45. We we gotta we gotta highlight this cat.
You
I'm letting
know,
you say what he did. What he do, T? What he
when
do?
I saw the video, I was like, this can't be true.
What he do? Just in case people ain't see it.
You have
Who
an
we talking
owner
about? Who we talking about?
landing
And
his
what he did?
helicopter in the middle of practice on the field. Like,
No.
I just don't get it. Like, we know you're the owner. So
In the middle
it,
of
I guess he had to get there. I mean, I guess he had to get there. I don't even know how to explain that, but that took me over. It
that
was
was
a
straight
nice
out of reality
helicopter.
TV. That was straight out of reality TV.
And it was a branded helicopter. It wasn't even like chartered. That's
No, no.
that's yours. It belongs to you.
Shout out to
Um,
Ryan and Jerry Jones. Shout
so
out.
And lately I've been seeing a lot of chatter about the next thing on the teams for the week, the the Monday night football complaints about
The
the
double
double
header.
header. And
I'm
you
not
know,
a fan. You a fan? You a fan?
this is what I'm a fan of. I'm a fan of money. And if I think with money, I'm a fan. And people think it's just the ratings, right? But in reality, it's an opportunity to have more than one Monday night game with fan bases that are not in competition with each other to be able to produce good games. The average fan that would be trying to go to Seahawks and Lions is not worried about trying to get to Miami versus the Titans. So they keeping them pretty far apart. I mean, because so to me, a doubleheader on a Monday night would be a bad idea if it's like the Texans and the Colts, right? And the
Yeah.
Titans and anybody, or the Cowboys and anybody, because you keeping all the same region of normal viewership and attendees pulling from each other. So if I'm a money man, I think it's a good idea. If you're thinking about money, you selling double the ads on channels you already own because it's the same
This
network.
business answer.
Huh?
This business answer is taking me in. Go ahead, though.
And so visually, you can enjoy both games, but also if you are looking for Monday night action and enthusiasm, you can attend. So the owners win from the in-person experience, concession stands, people get hyped up for Monday night, they get there early, drink, eat all day. And then from the executive side of it, they got everybody glued to their TV that's not there. For the player side, the players gonna make the money because they get revenue from the TV deals. So
Sure. Sure.
from that perspective, I'm okay with it because I'll tell you what they're going to say. It's not a problem on Sunday. You can't see all the games on Sunday at the same
But
time
I can.
unless you
But I
got
can.
Sunday ticket. Unless
But I
hold,
can.
hold on. Unless you got what?
Sunday ticket or red zone.
Right. So you paying for it. So on
Correct.
Monday night, I'm giving you two games at the same
But
time.
I can't see them the same way.
Why you
I
can't?
can't because red zone don't run on Monday. Red zone only run during
Both
the
of the
day on
games
Sunday.
are on the same network. So if you got ESPN, you seeing both of them anyway.
I gotta have my setup, which is how I got multiple TVs, so I mean I can do that. But the average fan, the fan snob in me is able to do it. But give me the fan snob perspective of it. Not, I mean, I get the business side. I got you. I'm no complaints at all.
Well, the average
But
fan going back in that same room they in on Sunday and they watching both games.
if they got two TVs, but now you got so
Okay, but it's
when they initially did the Monday night doubleheader, what did we see? We saw an East Coast game, or we saw two different time zones. We saw
this
a
was two
double.
different time zones too.
No, they was on at the same
They
time,
were on at the same time, but they were being played in two different time zones.
but they played at the same time. Now this week I wasn't mad. T. I wasn't.
Okay.
I told you I wasn't mad this week because I didn't want to see that first game. So I was definitely glad we got the second game. But I get it. I'm not one that's complaining. Don't get me
I
wrong. I'm
guess
not
what I'm saying
like
is,
in some of the user groups. I'm just saying I'm just not a fan of it.
I guess what I'm saying is, if you are a Sunday ticket type person and you need to be
Yeah,
able to flip through all these games and all these scoring factors,
yeah.
did you notice what they did during both games? And you're probably
Yeah,
gonna say
they did split screen. They did split
they
screen.
did split
Yeah.
screens every time. What? It was about to be a
Uh,
red zone score, or they was in the
they
red
ain't do
zone.
it every time. They ain't do
Almost.
it
It's
every
just
time.
the other game was lethargic. That's why you
Oh
didn't
yeah,
get it. That's why you didn't get it.
fair, fair. It wasn't nothing
Okay.
to see in that other. It wasn't nothing. Really wasn't nothing to see in that other
It
game.
wasn't till second half, and then it wasn't nothing to see. So once it was pretty clear who was winning that game, but they kept you to. They basically said, "We'll show you enough to see if you need to do what, switch
If you
games."
if you need to switch, yeah.
And you
No,
got the ability to do that. And so at the end of the day, the average fan who lives on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
On a Sunday, if he don't have Sunday ticket, he's not getting but 2 games anyway. So he still couldn't get the other game. That's why I'm saying there's a devil's advocate argument that you're not harmed by the double header on Monday night, unless you just a person who is a Sunday ticket and you like, dang, I wanted to watch both.
I guess the fan in me too is like Monday Night Football.
It was supposed to be one Monday night.
It's one team. Everybody watching the same game, Monday Night Football, which most of the weeks it is, except for 2. So now we're done with that, and we ain't got to worry about that no more. We got something else to go to.
So let me add one last thing to that, and we'll move on from this topic.
Yeah.
Guess who it must be really working for?
The NFL, for sure.
ESPN.
ESPN. Hey, I was about to say ESPN.
They buy into it. Because otherwise you would sell the other game to another network.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we're saying that, but somebody's happy.
Oh no, that's the business side. You laid out the business side.
What I mean is ESPN will not continue to engage in it at a loss. So that means the viewership must be matching the concept of the doubleheader.
But do you know there's something this week too that I just thought about? I don't think the first week, I don't think it was this way, but it was one game was on ESPN, but one game was national on ABC. So you didn't have the people saying, if I don't have cable, if I don't have a streaming service, then I can't see the game. Which I think the week before, I think it was ESPN and then ESPN Plus. I don't think it was on ABC. I could be wrong, but yeah, I'm totally with that part though. I'm totally with that, because now you changing the whole situation, and it's going back to how Monday Night Football is supposed to be anyway. Okay. So there's only one team without a win. We'll just say this real quick, and
we help contribute to that staying that way.
I'm glad we held them down last year. I remember Carolina didn't have a win, and we blessed them. So this year was a little bit different. In the end, last year, I happened to be at the one in Carolina where we lost in the last seconds. This year we won in the last few seconds and kept the Jags winless. So so shout out to them. So let's get to the next segment. Your favorite 3-piece
and a pepper.
What you got on 3-piece? You want to hit a couple of games first? You want to hit
because I'm struggling with, it's kind of more spice in there somewhere.
It's probably like a piece and 3 peppers and a piece and a piece of chicken.
I would agree with that.
Let's talk about the I guess the historic matchup that's going on this weekend. It's not necessarily the greatest matchup, but from a history perspective, 2 of the most Super Bowl winningest teams, the Steelers and the Cowboys match up this week. So two of my, as much as I really don't like Cowboy fans, I do respect the Steelers and the Cowboy fans as far as their longevity and loyalty. But it should be good to see them go at it this week. Both teams travel well, so it's going to be interesting to see what the stadium is going to look like.
Where is that game?
I believe. Let me double check.
Are they back home?
We in week 5, right?
Yeah.
That's in Pittsburgh. Sunday night football.
Okay. We're gonna have the yellow tag tiles wagging. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm iffy on this game because Cowboys are now faced with injury.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't a team that I'm sure of what their run game can do, right? I know
Cowboys or Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, because we know that Cowboys have been struggling with stopping the run. So
they got Najee. They gonna run.
I know they're going to run. I'm saying between him and Justin, I don't know if it'll be the exact same effect of, we knew the Saints and the Ravens had strong run games, not just a run game, right? Dominant run games. So that's kind of what I mean. Maybe I should use the word dominant run game. Yeah. Not that they don't have one. But I do think, hey, Todd, I do think that the Steelers will get that win. And the reason I feel like that is because the injuries for one, and I think that there's a lack of ability to get everything back into a cohesive unit in 1 week. They basically they were just a better team on the field last Thursday night,
The
right?
Cowboys were.
Dallas was, right. And so yes, they got the win, but what was missing from that game, I don't think will be fixed in time enough to overcome what the Steelers can just keep rolling with. And that's the only reason. Like there's no over in-depth analysis about breaking down. Like I said, the Steelers defense is not, I mean, offense right now is not known for being dominant in that sense. They have a run game, they got a running quarterback, so that's another advantage. But if you were ranking the defenses, Steelers are leading. If you were ranking the run games, Steelers are leading. I believe it'll be another situation where Dak will have a decent game. It just won't be enough to get them to win.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's gonna have a decent game against that Pittsburgh front, but we'll see. That's
Well,
gonna
I
be
just
the thing.
feel like he's experienced enough
For sure.
that he should lean into making, he'll make the smart decisions. I feel like the game, stats always confuse you, right? If you don't see the turnovers, you don't really know how they happen. Tip balls, all fantastic, amazing, unbelievable plays, right? Not just straight up throwing the ball to a defender.
Directly to the guy.
Right. So for me, that's why I say that he could still have a decent game, but I don't think it's going to be enough to overcome the injuries they're going to have on defense, right? And they still don't have the right spark yet on that run game. They don't have the right spark yet.
Fair enough. The other game we want to talk about is I'm not gonna call it a revenge game. We're just gonna call it the ex-girlfriend game. Because I think my guy said you don't have to talk bad about your ex-girlfriend to lift up your new girlfriend. So that's
the Bills and the Texans. I was gonna say, why got to be the ex-girlfriend game? Why couldn't it be, but
that was what I was using his word.
The way you transitioned it, I'm gonna roll with it.
Yeah, that was his phrase, and that was a great way to put it. So Stephon Diggs gets to see his old team, the Bills, coming in town to play against the Texans at noon on Sunday. This should have probably been a primetime game, but hey, I digress. What you think? What you thinking? What you thinking? How you feeling? How you feeling? What you thinking?
It's funny because that says a lot about how these night games that the Texans received, and that they said, okay, we didn't give them any night games last year, but this year, when you do this, then you're telling me you gave us the night games because of opposing quarterbacks? Because why didn't we get this one? Because you set us up with Chicago, who you knew was going to have the number one pick, right?
Yeah.
You got us with Lamar, which you knew is who we played in the playoffs and lost to, the lap in the divisional round. And then you give us Rodgers, which last year they destroyed us and put a CJ out for 2 weeks
without him.
And I don't know if you noticed, like, we keep getting a Jets matchup night game. Like it seems to be one of the matchup games we have gotten often over the years we played them. Remember when Deshaun and Sam Darnold, that was a Jets night game. That was actually a Saturday game in December when we had the Saturday games.
For sure.
And then I went to Jets and the Texans on a Monday night game in New York. And so it just seems like that's a consistent night matchup for us for whatever reason. And I think it's because, honestly, the New York market, regardless, period.
Yeah.
So for me, I see why they probably didn't put this one on during, nighttime, because the Bills just got done playing, but previously.
I can see it not being nighttime, but 3 o'clock, the
Bills
game of the week situation.
So I think
it's here.
I know that, but what I'm saying is you usually still play at the same time you would play. They are a 1 o'clock team, right? Unless it's a night game. So you don't really move to the other time zone without a proper notice. Remember, we only got moved to the 3 o'clock time slot last year because we were the only winning teams playing that day. So they swapped it so a winning team would be on at 3 o'clock. Winning teams, because everybody in that slot were losing teams. That's the sole reason they switched the time for that game. But if you're talking about going from just normally, like we would have been a 3, we wouldn't be a 3 because that's not what time they play. They a nooner team. Well, 1 o'clock went on the East Coast, but they a noon team. So that's why we play at the same time. So it is what it is. I know nobody really cares about that in-depth analysis over what time you play.
Yeah, that was deep. But what you think about the game? What you feeling like? What you looking forward to? How you feeling?
What am I looking forward to? Woo, we're gonna see a ton of Buffalo fans. I know if they sold tickets the way they did to the Bears, it's gonna be twice as many Buffalo fans this Sunday, and there's nothing you can undo about it. People put those tickets on sale so long ago, and you know,
I think it's a lot in the city too.
Yeah, we have to understand in the Metroplex like that. When you're in a major city, people own tickets as a business,
as an investment,
not even companies, people. So they look forward to see what games they'll sell. And this year we had quite a few good ones to put up for sale. So I'm not thrilled about it, but I'm also not naive about it. A fan base that travels and a city with fans that have tickets available for sale. It's a match made in heaven if you're trying to come. So
we're trying to get there.
Right.
We want to be there. Yeah.
And the last time the Bills were here, not the playoff game that we beat Josh at, but the one before that, I interviewed quite a few people who came in. I was doing media at the time. And I talked to people who literally came in. And then you and I know Buffalo was my last stadium I needed. And so when we went to Buffalo, the last stadium I needed to see the Texans play in. I still had to go to the new stadiums. But point is, we went. And what we found was these people really are traveling home for the home games. So like it's a commitment. They own season tickets and they go home for the home game. That's not something that's like tradition. Only other team I've really seen be that way is them and Saints fans. I know a lot of Saints fans who have season tickets and they go home from Texas. But Buffalo people come from everywhere and go home.
Yeah.
I was still trying to figure out how a guy from San Antonio was trying to explain to me why he was a Buffalo Bills fan. And that's a story for another day. But I'm hoping I don't hear that doggone song too often.
Well, it ain't the song, it's the chant. We ain't gonna hear the song, but we'll hear the chant.
It's the same difference.
Now the song slap though. But I just hated it because it was. I said I like the song. The song slap. The shout. I'm sorry. I mean, I hated hearing it. We lost 40-0. It was raining. It was terrible. But I was like, man, this is kind of cool. But I just got tired of hearing it.
That's fair. It's kind of cool, but I'm saying I don't want to hear it.
It's one of my favorites out of it. Yeah.
Out of all the chants from different places, I would agree with you on that. But
that's not our team. But yeah,
that's not our team. I'm looking forward to seeing Tank back on the field and see
practice today.
Yeah, and see how our offense can match up and look. And not for the reason that it's happening. I'm okay with they're gonna be minus a defender when they show up here to play us. So that's how I look at that.
Cool. I ain't gonna make you pick a winner. So,
please don't.
I think the other topic you brought up, the soft era. What you had to say about that?
Before I get to the soft era, let's get to your point. So we got two peppers in here tonight.
Are you gonna end on that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna end on that one because probably after I say what I gotta say, it'll be over.
Todd Ashton, we'll mix him in, be back real quick. He wasn't back at practice yet. He wasn't at practice today, so we're not sure. He last week he only practiced on Friday, but he did not go on Sunday. So was out of practice today. So we'll just keep an eye on the injury reports and see what goes there. I think D'Amico said he was pretty much week to week. So it's just one of those things. See how he feels and then go from there. But I don't know if you heard. I don't know if y'all heard, but after today, we gonna be in, like, if you're a football fan, I mean, you gonna be in football heaven. There are 55 straight days where there will be a football game played. What do you think about that, Gransberry?
I'm in love.
Your boyfriend just he came and
he came through. I said I needed
came
more
and stayed
time.
for a while.
I said I needed more time. I needed a stronger commitment, and he delivered.
He stayed for a while. He unpacked his bag.
Look. By the time he check out, right, it'll be time for holidays with the family, so it'll be okay.
It'll be. I think it's gonna be after Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving.
So then I'll be getting ready for Christmas, and I'll deal with the games I already have. But it's so amazing. I mean, I think I feel bad for, the wives who've been getting date nights on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We might even have to alter our showtime a little bit, because them Tuesday night games and Wednesday night games, some of them are good matchups. They didn't just put anything on,
Some of them are. Yeah. They're not there's some Power Fives in there, but they're not big Power Five matchups, but they are some good matchups. It's good ball that's going to be played. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to talk about that for the next 55 days. I'm gonna talk about my boyfriend for the next 55 days. I'm just gonna give him a shout out every day.
I mean, he ain't living out the suitcase. He done hung his clothes up in the closet. He got a little. He
has an extended stay.
He has an extended stay.
He has an extended stay.
He got a little section in the drawer. He done put his clothes in there.
No. He got an extended stay. He extends his stay elsewhere. He can come over.
Well, even if he has an extended stay, he's using the furniture that's in the room. He's not just living out of his suitcase.
That's fair.
What I'm saying? He might have to do laundry. He stands so long, he's gonna have to do some laundry in a week or two.
And now I have to be compromised, because this is gonna be the first year in 7 that we not in the next round.
That's true.
For the playoffs for baseball. So I got plenty of time to devote all my time. It's not gonna be divided. So I'm gonna do what it do.
For sure.
And I'm gonna dedicate my time. But I'm excited about that. But this last thing I want to talk about, and of course most people know, but this is a disclaimer here on that. One, I do not have children. So where I'm going with this is, there's always this thing about people who are not parents can't comment on everything. But we always see these comments about these kids are soft. This is the soft era of kids. And this is a result of soft parenting or whatever. But I want to know that did the adults who are making the comments forget that the kids grew up being away because the parents raised them? And notice I didn't say raise them to be that way, but raised them, and what they were afforded to or lacked, that is the result. And somehow we have decided that everything somehow they, because it ain't no we, I ain't in it. They have decided that everything they do that they disagree with, then it's soft. And one topic that came up for me was kids quitting. And I define quitting a little different. Now, if you start a sport and you don't really like it, if you can, finish the season, because there's been a commitment made to you being a part of the roster, whatever, finish it. Where I kind of lose that ability to understand adults telling kids that they're soft because they quit a sport is that I just ask anybody, not necessarily these parents that are out there already with their kids. The parent, let's say your kid play volleyball. I want you to go out there to a football little league game. And I want you to see if you can tell, is the kid playing because the kid want to play? Or is the kid playing because there's a parent in the stand that got him out there playing? And we forget that in your parenting, when you get to control everything, you putting these kids in all this stuff saying they need to keep busy, they need to try everything. And the kid comes to you and you don't disclose that, they like something else better, but you don't. So you pushing this one thing that the kid don't even like, and they go along with it. That, and notice I didn't say anything about being good or bad at it. I said what they don't like. And then when they start to develop a little bit more personality and pushback, when you think it's the adversity that's making them quit, it's the adversity that makes them realize, I ain't even want this. This ain't even what I want to do. And I'm saying it because I've seen it. I've seen kids hide after school and not go home to make their parents think they on the team. Because they don't want to play so bad, but they staying at school to make the parent think they still on the team. And by the time the parent found out they wasn't even on the team, it's embarrassing. Because then you're trying to make it look like you think the parents don't care, but it's like they don't want to be a part. And they would come to just enough practices to not get kicked off the team, but not play. Because they don't want to. Now there's pouting kids, there's kids that think they should start. And I don't know where the line is on where you make that decision. And I kind of want your feedback on this, D. Like, where's the line when they say work hard and you need to stick with it till you get your shot? Where's the line when you got to admit to your kid they ain't getting a shot?
Oh, that's tough.
So
Good
your
question.
kid plays on freshman a little bit. They play on sophomore JV a little bit. They play junior year JV a little bit. And because of the way the public school system is set up, they could possibly make the varsity team, but they don't play. And you telling me you mad at your kid that wants to quit playing a sport that they haven't played a total of 10 minutes in a whole season for 3 years and they can't quit the sport?
It depends on, to me, for me, it depends
Okay.
on the why. It depends on the why. I
Okay.
think it's not as cut and dry as quit. I mean, because, and I'll use, I'm a father of two girls, right? Girl dad, shout out. One of my daughters can care less. My youngest, who is every bit of 4'10", um, has always wanted to try different sports. She tried soccer. She tried basketball. She didn't try softball, but she tried a few different sports, tried dance, tried different things, right? So I always encourage her to try things. So even as a young toddler, when she tried soccer, she wasn't good at it. None of the kids were good at it. She didn't, but she showed up every week. So I think the lesson was to show up. You find the lesson, and then at the end of the season, it was like, okay, do you want to do this again? And she was like, no, I think I want to try something else. So did she quit? No, she didn't quit. She tried something else. You get what
Right.
I'm saying? So,
But my
but then
yeah.
later on, she wanted to get into basketball, going into middle school, and I'm like, basketball. It took me by surprise because she would go to games with me and she might do some things, but she never really was like, hey, Dad, I want to play basketball. So yeah, I took her out and we shot at we did some drills and did some practicing at the park and talked about some of the fundamentals. But I knew, it's going to be very difficult for you to make this team because these girls been playing for a while. They've been playing together. You just decided you want to try out. So I was real with her about that. And, so it's the message that you send into the kids, right? So she tried a couple of seasons and it was, like you said, when do you tell her? When do you be like, hey, this
Well, no,
probably
that's
not
not
going
what
to
I
be
was
your
asking.
thing.
So let
But
me
I'm
pause
saying,
there. I don't say you tell them. I'm
no, no,
saying
no,
they're telling you.
that they don't want to do it. No,
And
I'm
I'm
saying
saying, when is it okay?
it's okay. Like even in your example where it was like, hey, they JV. When do if they want to say, hey, I don't want to do this no more. I don't consider it quitting if they have a good reason why they don't want to play anymore.
But
And when I say what's a good reason, an unselfish reason, or a reason that you want to try something else. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's not to me, I'll tell you what's not a good reason. What's not a good reason is because I'm not getting playing time. Because you haven't been getting playing time and you've been on the team, you've been supporting the team. To me, that's not a good reason. I'm not talking
about quitting during the middle of the season though.
So say I'm over it. So it's the way it's going to be presented. If they presented to me that if you presented to me, or my kid presented to me that, you know what, if that's an element, right? So they say, hey, I realize I'm not getting playing time. This is kind of wasting my time. I want to take this time and devote it to XYZ studies or whatever. But if they come to me in I'm gonna use quotes, bratty type situation, that's why I say selfish, and it's all about them and and they're being done wrong. It depends on how, because they will present it that way. It's still, I'm doing this, and I'm not getting on the court, and they doing me wrong. If you feel that part, I mean, you just got
sitting on the bench just because.
I didn't say I would make them. I never said I would.
I'm having the conversation with you because I'm just trying to understand why.
And the question was, which one would I be okay with? I wouldn't be okay with that. I'm not going to force them to do anything, but I wouldn't be okay. I wouldn't be like, okay, well, great, let's do this. I wouldn't be okay with it. I'll be like, I don't agree with your reasoning, but hey, I'm not going to give money that they don't want to do if into something they don't want to do either. So when you talk about you loving money, and now you back with my money, cool. But there's a lesson in that too. But how many times we got? It's a different conversation.
Yeah, but I guess I'm over the thought of you got to keep forcing the conversation of a lesson on a kid if they don't want to freaking play. If they don't want,
it's always a lesson.
Look, if I don't,
it's always a lesson.
If I don't like it, I want to quit playing. And
but you saying something. You saying two different things.
I don't care. What I'm saying is, I don't care what the reason is. I'm saying to you, if a kid tries to have an adult conversation and say, I don't want to do it anymore, that should be enough. You get to do it with everything else in life. You get to be an adult and you don't want to date somebody anymore. You get to say, I don't want to date you anymore. I don't have to tell you why. You get to say, I'm tired of working at this restaurant. I don't want to work here anymore. But yet we keep putting unique rules on sports.
It's not unique. In the sense that
you just told me your unique answer that it depends on what they say, and I'm
saying because the lesson is different.
You can teach the lesson.
Listen what I'm saying. Okay. Me and you've had these conversations, and stop saying, I'm gonna say this as a friend. Stop saying you're not a parent, because you are a parent to your niece and your nephew. So stop saying you don't have kids. You're not a parent. You are a parent. So with that said, when your nephew and your niece call you with certain things, it's about the approach. You may not agree with whatever it is. You may not agree with what they bring to you, but you also give them the lesson to learn from it. It's not that it's a situation of my daughter come to me saying, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. That's fine, but why don't you want to do this anymore? And if it's and I've heard her say this, it's unfair. I don't feel like I'm being done right. And I have to show them, number one, life is not fair. You're not going to always be done right. And sometimes you have to remove yourself from the situation. I've been on jobs where I felt like I wasn't done right. And it was better for me to remove myself from the situation. But I've also had responsibilities to my family, and I had to suck it up for a little bit until I could remove myself from the situation. So the lesson becomes different.
I would match that lesson with not quitting in the middle of a season, which is why I didn't give that example.
So that's why I say it depends on the why.
I'm still okay with lessons. The problem I had is you use the words, I wouldn't be okay with it. That's my whole point. It don't matter what you would be okay with. It should be what she is okay with, but you give her the lesson regardless to help minimize it going forward.
But that's why I also said I would not force them to do anything. You asked me my opinion, so I said I know I wouldn't be.
I'm sorry, Gonzalez talking about put him in karate.
I
hate him.
I saw I was gonna put it. Yeah, but you know, it's that's what I'm saying. As the parental side, you might not be okay with it, but there's always a lesson, and then it's
So
how
the
that.
lesson to be out here calling them soft.
No, that's a bad parent.
Yeah.
That ain't what I'm
And
talking about.
so I'm saying, I'm not
That ain't what
saying
I'm talking about.
negate, and I'm not saying negate the lesson. And Todd is
Yeah,
right. The why is important because you curve it for the next time, right? If
correct,
you quit
correct.
every job because they want you to be to work at 8 o'clock, you need to figure out what's going on with why are you doing that? Because maybe you are a person that needs to start getting a night job, or you need to figure out why you can't get to work at 8. Same
Yeah,
difference when I was in college. I realized I ain't like 8 o'clock classes. I stopped enrolling in them suckers. Okay.
yeah.
Because I
That was a
noticed
lesson.
that was my lowest grade. That's the lesson. What I'm saying is name calling is not a lesson.
That's a
And
different.
so I think
I
that's
don't
what
care
I'm
what you're
really
doing. That's
going.
not cool.
I'm
Yeah,
1 million% with you on a lesson. What I'm
yeah.
saying is we trying to force sports of all things on kids. And
Uh,
sometimes people are not honest with these kids never wanted it.
yeah. What you talking about parents that's trying to force daydreams on their kids anyway.
I'm also
So
talking about the
that's terrible.
parents are the ones using the terms soft,
Soft.
but you also
Mm,
the ones who put these kids out into the world and you flipping on them and calling them soft. And
yeah,
so I'm saying we need to do better by the kids because they
yeah.
are the adults that have to go out here and you keep saying that they quit, they can't deal with the world. Yes, they can. Because I know dang well in your adulthood, you have quit something. Again, you've quit a relationship, you've quit a job. You didn't do everything by the book, even if you did stay on every team you was on. Hell, I
Mhm.
played on a softball varsity team that didn't win a game the whole year. So
You
can't
wanted to
nobody
quit?
tell me nothing about sticking with something.
Did you want
So
to quit? Did you want to quit?
nah, because I ain't a quitter like that. That's not my thing.
Because
That's
you're
not
not a
my,
quitter.
and notice I personalize that. That's not my thing.
No, I
That's not
got you.
my thing. And
I
I'm
got you.
saying for
So
some
if they
reason,
wanted to quit, are they a quitter? Because you said I'm not a quitter like that. So if they
like
wanted to quit,
that. It's still a quitter. The word is a definition. That's a defined
oh
term.
my, oh,
When you quit something, the ER is added to it. You are a quitter. I'm not saying your life is about you quitting things. You could be an amazing person. What I'm saying, I'm being real. It
I
was
know. I feel you. I'm
at
with
the
you.
time when I was on the softball team. Let's just get real with it. It was the first year the school had a team. I was just trying to make the team because I wanted to add another W, a sport, on
Oh,
my
jeez.
Letterman jacket.
Oh, you
So
wanted
I needed to finish the season to get a Letterman jacket. So I had a Y to stick
your
it out.
why was different. Your
My
why was
Y was
different.
different. But
Let's go back to
when I got
as a
my
quitter.
butt, let me tell you, I still got a little light scar. When I got popped in the nose by that ball playing on second base,
You
oh,
want to
I had
quit?
many a thoughts about quitting. Okay, because I didn't feel like I needed to be getting popped in the
Because you
nose.
was soft. Because you was soft.
Yeah, I was soft playing softball. So whatever.
Stop
But
being soft. Get back out
but
there. Put some
but did
dirt on
that
that thing, girl. Get back out there.
mean that when I got to college and I got on the bowling team and couldn't bowl, but taught myself to bowl and practice all night and weekend over the holidays to go out
Mhm.
there and be the MVP? Nothing about what I did in high school would have stopped that because sometimes who you are is who you are and what needs to be done. I just think that if they're quitting, talk to them. Everything is not they quitting because they're just not getting playing time, right? You
Yeah.
know, I remember a kid telling us they didn't want to go to summer camp anymore. We couldn't figure out like why all of a sudden in the middle of summer camp do they want to quit? Well, we found out the lady was talking crazy to them, but they didn't know how to express that. And
They
sometimes
don't.
I'm saying people ain't really with the why. They only with the why that they like. So the why is important, but the why can't be your why. You just need to hear the kid out and help them with the approach to improve for the next time. But it can't be your why.
Yeah.
Because when I get ready to quit my job, your why ain't gonna matter to my why. That's why I'm
Don't.
saying it
It'll
can't be
never matter.
what, and that's my point when I'm saying when you define what the kid is doing, it's not going to be you. And they keep saying they're going to be quitters in adulthood. Well, guess what? My mom and dad didn't believe leaving jobs. They believe you get a job, you stay forever, forever,
No matter what.
no matter what. The building got
Unhappy.
to close and shut down before you leave. Furious when I quit my first job. Furious. Why you doing that? The why I
Yeah.
was tired of being on the road. That wasn't good enough. People in life be tired. You just got to work hard. You got to keep working. Man, we have a conversation. So I'm
Well,
about,
that's a different era. That's a different conversation
but
too.
now we're in another era. I'm using it as an example of
I
I
feel you
know
though. No, no, I'm
era of
with
my
you.
parents and how they say what they say. And now this
Yeah.
era of parents and what they say. And I'm saying that I collectively keep hearing this soft era. Okay, you don't gotta yell and scream to have a lesson about the why. You know what I'm saying? You want to teach, complete what you start. I'm with that. But I'm
Hmm.
saying to you, some kid right now may be a nice kid, but is he really gonna have a career as a wide receiver at 5'5"?
He could.
Where? What team? Tell me.
I just said he could. God I serve do,
Hey,
exceedingly
but
and
now you're gonna play
abundantly.
games with me and don't bring God
I'm
into it.
not playing
I
no
can't fight
game.
you. I
I
can't fight
just
you
said
with
he
the
could.
Lord. Okay.
I just
I'm
said
not
he could.
ordained.
I
I'm not
look here, look,
ordained, and
look
I'm
here.
not gonna get
I
into
just said
scripture.
he could. I'm
Look,
my thing, and then we can probably, you get the final word. We need to close out. My thing is this. Bottom line is speaking negative and speaking these terms and calling these names over our kids just ain't cool. No matter what it is, no matter what the topic
exactly.
is, that ain't cool. We need to speak life into our kids. We need to speak, positive into our kids. Be real with our kids. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about soft parenting. You got to be stern when you need to be stern. But we speaking or downgrading them and calling them names is that's never progressive. That's never
No,
going to
and I
be.
think that's the key point. That's the
So
key
yeah,
point. And I appreciate you bringing up the why is important, but just make sure it doesn't have to be the why that satisfies you.
yeah. But
Because
that goes back to when I say if it's a selfish thing, I meant it about them, but it's still selfish if I make it about me. It's got to be about the lesson,
and
right?
you can hold them accountable for
Absolutely.
quitting for a selfish reason,
Hmm.
right? But I'm
Yeah.
just saying that we know when you get deep into sports and depending on where you at school at, you're not getting picked for the team if you're not over 6 feet. There are a lot of little variables that may not be fair, but life ain't fair. So I'm saying if the kid is done with it, and that's not even the reason they out there, that people are underestimating the reason why people are really quitting. Right. Gonzalez always, you got a point.
Fact. It's a
You,
fact.
you, you
It's a fact.
look, you got a point.
It's a fact.
Okay, you
I'm
got a
just
point. But I guess I just don't like the way I keep seeing people trash out kids and
yeah.
and then say the soft air. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, this is the age group of kids you raising. What are you talking about? And
Yeah.
I understand your kid don't need to be working hard at 16. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about they had to get a job at 16 instead of being able to play sports. And so you don't want your kid to suffer through that and do all that or whatever. Okay. I'm just saying your approach needs to chill for a minute because some of y'all not checking your mirrors and forget and cleaning out your ears and remembering the things you heard that your parents didn't agree with, but you still made your choices. And so, yes, you there to try to keep them from making the same mistakes, but
Mhm.
sometimes the same mistake is not dealing with the approach. There's a way to go talk to a coach. There's a way to go address it if you want to get, just like you want to get off the football team, the same way you might want to get off the chess team or the debate club. It doesn't mean just sports, but for some reason we have this whole thing that people are soft. And I know it's supposed to go, but I'm still gonna hit the other topic of within this of the soft area, which is they think all these kids can't take criticism because they coming back at the people in the media. And I'm gonna still bring this back up in week 6. So I'm gonna end, but I'm gonna tell this part. But we're
Yeah,
gonna talk about this again in week
yeah,
6.
that's
I'm gonna
yeah, we
put some
definitely
thoughts
need to.
on there, so I'm not gonna go too deep. But the point I'm gonna make that we need to talk about is understanding what is the role of the media and understanding what is constructive criticism. Because the media's role is not constructive criticism. And don't try to tell me it is, because I studied radio, TV communications. And it ain't no class about no constructive criticism. Your job is to deliver the news.
The news.
At a level of understanding of third grade. The news was never intended to be at an educated level. So when people get all in they whatever about people, how they need to talk, they told us to write to a level of a third grader. That's the standard of which the education of reading should be based for reporting. And the media was about beauty, delivering you the news. It was to inform you, not to have a whole show, which I've been against, and why I don't do it that way, of just you gonna talk about every player when you ain't never been good as half the players, probably ain't never played the sport, which would be me, right, with football. That is not the news. And you're not entitled to talk about somebody and they can't respond back. It's called free speech. So the whole concept of they soft because you said something about them, why do you get to say something and they supposed to be on mute? What was the original reason why people originally used to join Twitter? It was because the entertainers said they were trying to beat the media from telling perspectives of their lives and stories that didn't say or happen. And they would have an opportunity to respond without hoping the media would even engage with them. And that's where we at now. Everybody wants to give their opinion, but they don't want nobody to respond. Nobody. And if you do, and you the athlete, you soft. No, give me no constructive criticism. You just feel like you can talk about me. Constructive criticism is me as a lawyer going to a case to watch a case for somebody for something I know how to do, and they ask me to tell them where they can improve. It's not me sitting in the courtroom and just thinking, oh, she ain't a good lawyer. Let me make sure I tell her, girl, you're not a good lawyer because that ain't the way you do that. Because I know, because I've been a lawyer 19 years, so I know. What you know? But on that note, okay, I like you. I like that, Gonzalez. And we're going to talk about that in week 6. We'll get back to that because I think that's the confusing part, that people don't understand what the media is for. And I'm not even getting to the podcast level. That's why the media always wanted to separate the word media from podcast. They don't call podcast media in that sense. We do. We made it normal. But the reason why it's separated is because they serve two different purposes. Podcast is not set up to be informing the public. It's not news. It's all opinion.
It's all opinion.
So this show is opinions, and I'm not willing to die on no opinion over no player that I don't know enough about, and that's why I don't do certain topics, because I think it's wrong. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. That's just not. You can go ahead, but then I'm gonna get my opinion.
You gave us a word.
Peace. We'll catch y'all next week. Make sure y'all put in y'all picks, because we love it when you forget to make your Thursday pick and I get to get ahead of you. Peace.